one of the best things that ever happened to me in my lifetime was when I was very young, probably 19. I was majoring in I wanted to be a police officer, and back in the 80s, women police officers were not that common, and I was taking criminal justice. I was majoring in criminal justice at my local community college. Um, and not criminal was a criminal yeah criminal justice at my local community college, getting my associate's degree in that. And I did a little internship. They needed a female to help with a local program for adjudicated youth, and it was like a transitional home. It was a community program. It was so long ago, I don't remember what it was, but they just needed a female to come and go do their activities with them, so that they had a female to be in the locker room and that kind of thing, kind of supervise them. I was probably practically their same age, but and it wasn't paid. It was just an internship. And from that point on, I never left corrections. But here's the benefit of that, is that I myself was, even though I didn't have a criminal mind, and we call that because they used the criminal thinking errors, the criminal thinking patterns, as their way of functioning in society, problem solving, seeing the world through a criminal lens, which victim playing, this is what we used back in the day: victim playing, blame projecting, minimizing, um, excuse making, all of those things, which ironically are kind of the normal filters that general society uses these days. It's no longer the filter of the criminal thinking, which, trying to get them out of that so people have the connect to their self agency to make decisions to better themselves. And when you are in perpetual denial through blame projecting, victim playing, excuse making, redefining, then you can never get up and over. You're just constantly making excuses behind those thinking patterns. And so, of course, we highlighted those thinking patterns and to help the young people. But here's the thing, is that I was developmentally delayed because of my childhood. I was I didn't have self-agency. I didn't have the ability to make good decisions for myself. I didn't even know what good decisions to make. And, I had a little bit of a rubric because I was raised in a Christian environment. My grandfather was a pastor. And so, following God, doing good, doing, not lying, not stealing, being a good person in that regard, and doing things to honor God, it will come back to you. And so I did have that framework. But in terms of just daily decision making and helping myself and becoming a better person and healing and growing with a enormous developmental delay because of my mom leaving, and my mom was mentally ill. My dad was away a lot because he was in the military. It was during the Vietnam War. He wasn't fighting in the Vietnam War, but he was, deployed. Anyway, so I had a lot of healing, growing that I needed to do as well. And so that started my career. I never actually became a police officer. I stayed in corrections. And from there, I, worked in other juvenile transitional homes. I met my husband working at a transitional home in Southern California for adjudicated boys, mostly from the gang culture, and worked with men in prisons and stayed in corrections. But it actually really benefited me because so much of what I learned to help these other people, I didn't know. I didn't know. I was learning myself. I learning about the criminal thinking errors helped me because I know I was excuse making, blame projecting, minimizing, and and helped me identify those patterns in my own life. And one of the things that I've come to terms with is all of us are just one degree away from being somebody else. And it really does matter, the decisions that you make and the way you perceive yourself in the world. And if anything helped me at all with these classes, that, especially as time went on, became way more evidence based, way more scientifically based, not just things that, and I ended up getting my master's degree in criminal justice, corrections and reentry. And very scientifically, and now we have some bodies of evidence to show people how to actively get themselves to the next stage of life up and over, not just for criminals, but for everybody. And I'm telling you right now, we live in a society and a culture of underdeveloped people, emotionally mature, lacking the ability to um, work through a problem solving in their head, to even think about or engage in weighing and measuring options, um, critical thinking skills, the capacity to be okay when we don't feel good, the capacity to understand that feelings are information and not instructions, that you observe your feelings, you unpack your feelings, and then you make a decision based upon uh, its value. Make a decision based upon how it's going to benefit your goals going forward. And it's weird because now, now I'm 60 years old and I've had a whole lifetime. And now that I'm looking back, I'm thinking it's weird because now I feel like I'm ahead of people. I was way behind before. I chose the right career to help myself. But now I'm looking at the world around me and generations coming up, and I'm thinking, wow, I actually feel now like I am more advanced, which is weird because I'm actually not that smart, to be honest with you. I would not put myself up, on a pedestal of being, highly intelligent or even academic. But it just has to do with changing your thinking processes just slightly, just slightly. And I used to, when I was a treatment provider in the prisons for the men, I used to compliment them to say, just the fact that you're in prison means that you did something. You weren't just sitting in your mom's basement, although there's a lot of things that can be going on in your mom's basement that's also bad. But you did something, you were moving forward, you had energy behind you, you had a goal, you had a plan, even if it was just a reactive plan, even if it was out of pain. And the thing that you did may have been morally repugnant and harmful and a menace to society, but you can still just change your dial ever so slightly, change your due north, and use that same energy and just go a different direction and get a much better outcome. And anyway, so that's kind of what I'm thinking about today, is how when we slightly change the way that we view the world, allow ourselves to contemplate the world, when we are not the victim, when we are not the one off, um, how it can change the trajectory of your life. And the thing is if you change it a little bit at the beginning, the farther down the road you get in life, the bigger that gap is. So just changing a little bit whenever you can, of thinking a different thought, considering something else, letting yourself feel a feeling, letting yourself observe a feeling, not just reacting on your feelings, will change the trajectory of your life, no matter how small that different decision is. Anyway, this is Vashti coming to you from Vashti's house. Hope you have a great day. Make yourself at home.